She broke the story yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and we here in Sacramento perked our ears up. And then, you being the voice of Sac State and me being just a guy
The voice
with a
of
show.
Sacramento,
right? We started calling people and doing all that. But I would say this: the bad news is our next guest gave us a lot of work to do in the afternoon. Jason, don't appreciate it. On the other hand, it's a potentially wonderful story for the city, and we wanted to bring on the person and give her credit for breaking the news from Front Office Sports. She's a sports business reporter, also reports on college sports as well, so I'm sure she's been quite busy over the last year or two. Amanda Christovich. Amanda, my name's Dave. This is Jason Ross. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Honestly, we're not going to, of course, ask you where, what, and who, because you got sources, and good for you. And but here, we have two major college programs, Sac State and UC Davis, and when we say major, that's major to us from a national point of view. They're not Alabama or Clemson or Florida State or whoever, but small towns always, small schools, you want to grow, and it seems like there's an opportunity perhaps for Sac State to grow here.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that, obviously what I reported yesterday was that sort of the local community, the business leaders, the local politicians are planning to sort of rally around Sac State and create this push to, get the school an invitation from, one of the two FBS conferences that it might make sense, the Mountain West or the Pac-12. They have a pretty sort of lengthy process that they would have to go through to get to the FBS level, but it starts with getting an invitation from a conference in your higher division. So, and I do want to just say, I'm from Los Angeles. I'm a California native. So, it was personally exciting for me too, adding another city in California to FBS football would be pretty cool.
It would be, Amanda. I'm thinking of, when we're all younger, there's that cool party in high school. It's like, how do I get invited? Do I wear my best outfit? Do I hang out with the cool kids? How does these leaders in Sacramento, try to impress those decision makers and get that invite?
Well, I think it's two things. The first thing is resources, and the second is PR, right? And I'm not naive. I imagine, I did my due diligence, but I imagine that, it's not like folks didn't want this story to get out after they saw the moves that the Pac-12 made yesterday. The new stadium, a new football stadium, the resources that the university already has, the student body, the local Sacramento market, the media market. Obviously, the city has put a lot of resources into growing its sports portfolio in the last few years. So I think that is something they're going to tout. But there is a lot of money that is going to have to go into this, right? There's a whole NCAA approval process. I would have folks look at James Madison University. They made this jump, I believe, 2 years ago now. I don't know. Time is a flat circle on my beat. But, and they were able to do it and they've been successful. So I think, that could potentially be a blueprint. And then it's also just sort of literally the PR, hyping yourself up in the media, touting the existing things that you already have that could fit into, a Mountain West, for example, and proving to the members that, and the university presidents in these conferences, because those are the people who make those decisions, right? Proving to these university presidents that, your school has something to offer.
Mm-hmm. Amanda Christovich, Front Office Sports, joining us because it is a dance. It really is. We were talking earlier, given details of the outside group outside of the university that they're going to announce today, made up of politicians and local movers and shakers, that they're forming a blue ribbon committee, if you will, to try to really push this thing. But it's one of those where it's like, well, we can't ask for the invite because we're basically married right now to the conference, but it's this weird dance these schools have to do, like you were talking about, to get in, let people know you want to get in, but you don't really want to get in. You're committed right now.
Right. I mean, look, I think it's one thing if you're talking about the power conference level, the FBS level, you're already there and you're moving from one conference to another, which, obviously it's really not even Power 4 versus everybody else. It's like two super conferences and everybody else. So I think there's more bad blood there. I would be just personally very surprised if there was bad blood, coming from a conference that is FCS. Like, you have to understand that, of course, everybody that has the opportunity to move up a level is going to want to. That doesn't necessarily mean they should. There are long-term financial consequences that have to be, looked into, and there's a lot of planning and modeling. But to me, it's like, come on, like you can't be mad at a school for wanting to, go up a division, right?
Right.
That's not personal.
And man, in this case, there are potentially two options. It feels like Pac-12 is shooting for the moon. Mountain West maybe more realistic. I don't know if either one is, but where do you think this group of Sacramento leaders ultimately would like this to go, if in fact it is go in favor of the Hornets, to the Pac-12 or the Mountain West?
I mean, I'm sure they would like the Pac-12 because of the history, especially in California. But I would definitely suggest that the Mountain West is a more viable option for them. I think that definitely makes more sense. Obviously, the Pac-12, I spoke with the commissioner yesterday. When I asked her if the goal is to become a power conference again, she kind of laughed and she's like, yeah, it's weird. It's a weird term in our current landscape. What exactly does it mean? Right. But it's a bigger leap to go to a maybe former power conference than a group of 5, group of 6 now conference. But again, the competition is going to be steep, and Sac State is starting from, they're not starting from a position of strength, unfortunately, because they're not, already in the FBS division doing, the things that FBS programs are doing. So they're really going to have to make a push, but the push that it sounds like they're going to be making is exactly what they would theoretically need to do to be able to jump to that next level.
And Amanda, with the way the landscape is, and look, Jason's the voice of Sac State. He's a huge college football fan. I'm a lifelong FSU fan. We both love college football and both adore the pageantry and history and everything that goes with it. But with everything moving around and Stanford and UCLA being, in a conference they have no business being in, FSU trying to get into the SEC, God knows what things are going to look like in 2 years. Has the idea of a conference lost a little luster, and could that maybe be presenting an opportunity for Sac State that would have been unthinkable, 5 years ago?
I mean, I definitely think the second part of your question is correct, right? This is probably an opportunity that was unthinkable 5 years ago. I'm not sure it's because the concept of a conference is no longer, of interest. I think if anything, people are really, really upset about what has happened, to the college sports landscape. I would just say in the last year, the folks at the Pac-12 were overjoyed with how excited people seemed about the fact that the conference was going to be able to survive, even with a different blueprint. So, and talk about the ACC going to court, the Pac-12 trying to rebuild. These conferences are not going to go down without a fight, right? And by the way, neither is the Mountain West. They have $111 million coming their way from this, between exit fees and the Pac-12 scheduling partnership. Gloria Nevarez is an excellent commissioner. The conferences themselves are not going to go down without a fight. So I don't know that it's going to be as quick of a transition as maybe we originally thought, to sort of that AFC, NFC version of college football, right? The SEC and Big Ten. I don't know. It's everyone's getting a little scrappy,
Yeah.
Right.
Amanda, too, I want to ask you about those two conferences then. So really the Pac-12, if they add the 4, or we'll add the 4, they're at 6. They want at least 2 more teams. You mentioned if Sac State's interested, and Mountain West would be a more logical place for them as a goal, but there would be competition. So Mountain West losing 4 powerful programs, who are they looking to add? Who might the competition be there, and who do you think the Pac-12 may be looking to add?
Well, I can tell you let's start with the Pac-12. I can tell you who the Pac-12 is not looking to add, or they're not going to be able to, which is Stanford and Cal.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many rumors flying yesterday about that. And I was able to confirm that those schools signed on to a contract called the Grant of Rights with the ACC, which I'm sure as an FSU fan, you're familiar with that. It's basically the contract binding all of the schools together for the duration of the media deal. So like Stanford and Cal have to go to court just like FSU and Clemson are if they want to leave the ACC. But I don't even think they would want to, because they've like turned up their nose at, the footprint of the or even like the concept of like Boise State in the Pac-12. Like they've turned up their nose at that for a really long time. It's hard for me to answer that question because the footprints of the Pac-12 and Mountain West are now like a lot more similar than they were before, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously the logical question is, where does UNLV fit into all of this? We were all very surprised that they were not part of the move as a 5th school to the Pac-12. That could be because of the fact that these universities have boards of regents with all of the state schools in the state, like part of that, right? So like, remember however upset all of the Cal people were when like UCLA moved to the Big Ten? Similar thing in Nevada, right? So that's a question. It'll be interesting to see whether there can be some sort of negotiation to get UNLV into the Pac-12. That's what I'm looking at. But I've seen a lot. Like, I'm wondering about North Dakota State also, if you want to talk about FCS to FBS. I'm wondering about, a lot of people are talking about New Mexico, for example. There are a lot of these big sort of state schools that I think would fit in either of these conferences. And we just have to sort of see where the chips fall.
All right. At A, as in Amanda, Christovich, Christovich, and then another H on the end just for fun. That's how you can get her on Twitter. And I do strongly suggest you follow her for all, not just Sac State news, but I was going through Twitter yesterday and all kinds of fun stuff. So we appreciate the good work you do, and we appreciate you on short notice making some time for us this morning, Amanda. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, you take care. All right, and we'll have lots more on that.
Mm-hmm.